And welcome again.
I'm Renata.
And I'm What's Left of William.
And, you are viewing The New Normal, Exploring Infinite Possibilities. And, wow, it's been an interesting couple of weeks, days. The title of the topic today, generically, is FreeStyle and Being in the Now. And you said you were going to share some magic with us about that.
Some ideas, and remember always what we talk about and how you interpret it can be 18 different things, and it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, that idea of the freestyling is not really feeling like you have to perform in a certain way.
Oh, yeah.
You just have to be, to create the magic now, you just have to be really anchored in your current physical reality.
And magic is what we have not taught our young people.
Right.
And when we were young, once upon a time, I was young.
I know.
And
yesterday.
I was very fortunate. I had a grandmother who taught me magic.
And it's like, you could have a magic wand.
Oh, yes.
And some days, I carry this little shungite little rod around because it helps to correct, a few different things. But I know it's just a stand-in, and I'm not saying that, some of the tools from Mother Earth aren't valuable, but if I needed to ground or do something different and I had no tools, I know how to do that as well.
Right. And with that, if other people touch it, may I?
Yeah, please.
They will feel a different thing.
Yes.
And all of you, if you have like a wand, if you have a windstorm, it's all energy. It's all vibration. And it will tell you different things at different moments. And a windstorm will terrify one person according to their own body, five senses language. And another person, a windstorm like me, is communication with the nature spirits, communication with what's really around us and in us and up us.
It's that last one, and up us.
Yeah. Oh,
like
I hadn't quite gone there.
That's so funny. I was thinking on the opposite end of that a little bit, how your communication is up-leveling your ability to communicate with everything around you. And I was noticing, for instance, a few things that I've drowned in a few different lifetimes, and we went on a little bit of a journey, and driving and going over water. And I've noticed lately that there's been a sensation of being aware of that drowning and or being out of control when I've been driving and that
out
kind
of control,
thing.
yes.
Yeah, and so I've been like working with that one. That's magic for me because I'm like, you always are a little bit tense when you drive or when you're on the road. What is that, Renata? So I had lots of opportunities this weekend to explore that.
And that's what's so important for all of us right now, creating this new normal, new reality.
Yes.
Is we have to be willing to place in our consciousness what was in the past and say, that still bothers me or energizes me, but I know it is a past memory. So it's not going to affect me. It's not going to limit me. But we have the need to be both physical and non-physical simultaneously.
Simultaneously, that's that
Yes.
multidimensionality that's happening for
That's
all of us
right.
in this quantum reality that is shifting moment by moment. So when people say be in your now moment, that's just like be present. Be
And
here with yourself.
If there are 200 people listening today, well, there's probably 172. Anyways, the important thing is to know that your moment is not always created by just the brain. It's created by the brains and the energy of plants, animals, other people, your environment. And so, yes, we create our own reality, but we have to now avoid our reality turning us into recluses.
Yeah, there's been so much of that, just stay
Yep.
in and stay away from people, that, you know, we are really designed to connect and touch and love and hug. Yeah, that's the deal. And there's been a lot of hindrance with that lately.
Yeah.
So really challenging to feel magical when you're being repressed. And so some of the things you're talking about today is connecting with the energies around you.
The energy around us. I have a small apartment. It's a nice apartment. But there are people that have come in and they can't wait to leave because they don't comprehend the energy they're feeling. Instead of asking me or making a comment, they just say, I have an apartment, I have to leave.
I remember the first time being around a group of women that were my friends, and because I'm fairly empathic, I'd always pick up on everybody else's stuff. I never knew where Renata was at, right?
Yeah.
And then we were on a little retreat, and I looked around at all of them, and then myself. I went, oh, that's what this feels like when you just own your own space. And I was so grateful for that, because that's always my touchstone now. It's not like I'll not ever be empathic. No, it's like more so. But to be able to reel myself back in and recognize, oh no, that's not even you, girl.
Well, a lot of people who study with me in Japan and Okinawa, which is almost part of Japan, just don't tell them that. And they're almost as bad as our relationship to Texas.
Well, Okinawa, isn't that the longevity
Yeah.
place? People regularly live to be 100 and more.
Oh, yeah.
So they'll take that next 100-year lifetime and kick your butt if you tell them what you said. That they're part of Japan.
And where I was going with that, I have no idea now.
I know, but it was interesting though if people didn't know about Okinawa. But you were saying that when you do that, you taught in different places what you're saying. You're just throwing that in there.
Oh, yeah. Well, the thing is, what I teach can often bring a balance to what they've been taught, because it's all magic.
I must say, I've been with you for several years. We've been friends, and just lately, since you asked me to join the Alliance to, be of assistance, I feel like I've gotten an upgrade with a lot of things that I already knew. But being around you, it's kind of like it's filled me up more with a different perspective.
I don't consider it as you think you've had an upgrade. You sure have.
Oh, yeah, right.
Renata is dynamic, in case you didn't get that. But her dynamic energy has gone into a new, different reality. And her magic as a healer is remarkable. But now it has taken on, from my perception, a totally new direction.
Yeah, and it's exciting.
It is.
It's able, that idea of being able to share with people has always been exciting to me. So,
And all of you out there, remember that what we talk about, it isn't just us talking to each other. We're talking to you. All of you. I don't care if you're a businessman or businesswoman. I don't care what you are. If you allow yourself, you can still be what you are, just better at it. And you'll do new, exciting things. And there will be times when you don't do it the way you did yesterday. That's living in the moment. That's taking the magic.
That's the magic. And when we go around, when we as humans now, with all the things that are shifting in the collective consciousness right now, there's just a lot of dumping. There's a lot of energetic dumping. There's just a lot of stuff out there.
Yes.
And so I find myself from time to time, it's like you walking through an area, all of a sudden I feel nauseated. We'll swallow. Not you. You're fine. So being in the now is so super important, and not questioning it so much.
And I would take your comment a step more like the way I would think, which doesn't mean better. If they're feeling nauseous by going into a space, that's part of their five senses saying, there's something off here for you. Like if you walk into a restaurant and you suddenly feel nauseous, don't stay and eat their food. It's not going to nourish you. You'll go home and say, God, darn, I had that huge meal and now I'm hungry. Because your body says, yeah, you didn't need this.
Right. Yeah, it's always good to check in with yourself before you do
Oh,
something.
and I love you and George. They eat food when it's right, when it feels right, when it feels comfortable. They don't eat because they're told to. And all of you, don't do anything because you're told to do it or your parents told you to do it. Eat, sleep, travel because it feels good. It's what you need to do. And your senses are going to tell you, and that's your magic. Living in the moment.
It was kind of fun yesterday. George and I are out and about doing something and living in the moment, and we needed something for our deck on a thing. So he bought 4 of these tiles. Only 2 of them he needed. But then I'm standing there going, but those 2 tiles will go on there. And he's like, oh, perfect. So this morning it's like, oh, look at that. 4 tiles. We only need 2, but we used those 4 tiles, and it made a cool thing. Talking about attracting things to yourself, and they're magical.
Yes.
Small things and big things.
And middle things.
And so start paying, what we're encouraging you to do is start paying attention to your own magic.
Because you are unique.
Yeah,
all of you.
that's what we're saying.
You are unique. So pay attention to your uniqueness. That's why you've heard me say on this show many times, every week, do something you've never done before. Try something new. Read, play, listen to a music you've never listened to. Recently on YouTube, they've been doing a whole series on a singer called Ima Sumac. She had the only officially defined 5-octave range. And she was a remarkable woman from South America. And she sings songs, and she does an incredible thing.
This is, you spoke or?
Oh, yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah. She does a
Oh,
thing
trouble.
with a professional wind instrument.
Oh, okay.
And
Like a didgeridoo?
no.
Oh, okay.
From the
Flute?
concert. Yeah,
Oh, flute, okay, clarinet, that kind of thing.
thank
Got you. Okay.
And she does a duet without words, mimicking the sounds of the flute. And it's one of the most remarkable things I've ever heard.
That's amazing.
Oh, it is.
Maybe we need to have one of those on our site.
You know, all of you, check out Ima, I-M-A, Sumac, like the tree. And she was a remarkable woman, terribly misunderstood. And, but she always relied on the mysticism of her people in Peru.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Are you spelling Ima, I-M-M-A?
I-M-A.
Oh, just one A or one O?
Yeah.
Okay.
And many thousands of years ago, in this lifetime, I knew her. And she lived for the latter part of her life in Los Angeles. And the place where she lived, the energy of her music has stayed. And people say it's haunted. It's not haunted, it's the energy of magic that creates the image, and then the logical minds have to say, oh, it's Ima's ghost.
Right. And that you know, may be with us forever. That's that human default
Of
mode.
course.
We go back to there, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
Again, but what we're indicating is that once you, all of us, become aware of those things that keep us in conflict, we can clear that conflict.
Yes, oh, good statement.
Yeah. And then you're not operating from a base of conflict.
I used to love, we were never really close friends, but I'd love when she'd come out to my uncle's cottage on Long Island. And if they were having a drought, she'd go out and sing to the winds, and there'd be rain within a day. Yeah.
We were talking about this a little bit on the way in terms of impacting people by your presence.
Yes. And that's what all of you do. And that's why you've heard me say, if you're working in a big company, pay attention to the people who clean the floors. Pay attention to the people around you, because they're an intricate part of the magic that creates a successful business, not necessarily economically.
Again, but we've been trained for centuries
Yep.
and centuries to think that
Plus.
squared, that our presence has no place other than in the hierarchy of,
Yes,
production
yes.
and consumerism. And that's just not true. That's all. It's just not true.
It's not. Well,
It's not
when
a
I
true
was
statement.
younger, I did a lot of work in the entertainment industry. And people would say, at that time I was very heavy. They'd say, you're short, fat, and ugly. You'll never be anything in the theater. I said, okay. And I was behind the scenes anyways. I was producing and whatever. And every once in a while someone would fall off a stage or break a leg or something, and they'd say, no, the only person that could possibly do that role is you, because you don't need makeup or anything, you just fit in and do it. And because I could feel it, magic took over and I'd perform it.
Mm-hmm.
There was a character in a little play called Pajama Game. And one of the lead men couldn't show up for a show in Broadway. And so they said, William, you got to do it. I had never sung the role or anything. And I just did it because I brought through the energy. It wasn't William doing it. What I'm saying to all of you, don't limit yourself. If people say you can't do something, say thank you for your opinion, but watch me.
You could not only do everything or anything that you put your mind to or decide to create, most definitely. And so don't let yourself be stopped by the small part of you that says you can't do that because you've never done it before.
And that's why I'm always saying, go and do new things. Try new things. It doesn't mean you have to do them all the time. But my grandmother taught me, don't try anything one time. Because first time you don't give it a chance. Second time, you're at least being somewhat objective. Third time, you're going to recognize, I want to do it again or I don't want to do it again.
Yeah, and you'll kind of know. I mean, it's
Yes.
I just kind of, when something comes across my desk or some idea, I kind of be with it and see where it floats, where it lands. And sometimes
love it, yes.
Sometimes it's like a rock, like, nah, I'm not even feeling that. Sounds exciting, but then when I work with it, I'm like, nah, nothing there. And that's a really good barometer for me. Everybody might do it a little bit differently.
Everyone does, yeah.
But the idea is to definitely we talk about this, get your own baseline.
I love that, yes.
Yeah, isn't that good? Get your own baseline so that you can be clear with where you're at. Or sometimes, for me, it's like where I'm not at. And that's just as good.
Oh, that's a good statement. And all of you, listen to what she just said. Feel what's happening at the moment. That's living in the moment. That's creating your current reality. And it's using the magic that every living being was born with.
Right, but again, if we came in and knowing all those great things, there'd be no contrast. So there might not be as much learning as happening right now. So it's pretty interesting, isn't it? Excuse me for 1 second.
Oh, he did.
We were just exercising a little bit. Thought somebody needed to get in, somebody they didn't. It's fine. It's just fine.
So the important thing is, no matter how successful you feel, there's always more success available to you. None of us ever reach the top. If you reach the top of your mountain, you're going to be in the spirit world.
If you never hit the bat, you just never know if you're going to win or not.
Yeah.
You just. It's not even about trying, because trying it's such a hedgy word.
I don't like that word.
So here's this shungite. So try to pick it up. Well, just pick it up. Sometimes you can directly do it, and other times you go around about a little bit. But try and should are words I don't even use anymore.
When someone says to me in a counseling session, I'm going to try to be better, I know they're not going to do a thing.
Mm-mm. They're just the mental mind burps.
Yep.
That's a good one, mind burp.
Oh, yes.
Mind burp. So there's no real flow with that one. And it's okay not to take everybody's idea, suggestion. That's the magic of being you.
And there are lots of people out there who have kids.
Mm-hmm.
What Renato and I are talking about vaguely is teach your kids to be individual. Teach your kids they can do what feels good to them. Let them discover. Don't say, I'm a doctor, you have to be a doctor. I'm an accountant, you have to be an accountant. Tell them, find what works for you. Find what you're excited about. If you want to be a bum, well, just be a good one.
Well, if you were to talk maybe to some people that were professional bums to see all the different places that they've hitchhiked to and all the different places that they've lived, that's a great example because I hear about that a lot. Like, after high school or college, you decide you want to bum around, different areas, but listen to the great stories and the life experiences. Again, the whole idea is to have experiences, and if you just isolate yourself, you have no life experiences to grow.
And that's what we have forgotten to teach our people, is it isn't about how much money you have in the bank. It's not about how big your house is. It's about have the experiences that come to you. If an experience comes to you, it isn't punishment, it isn't a success, it's only saying, see how this feels to you, because something in your soul needs it. Just enjoy it.
And it doesn't have to go on forever.
That's right.
And ever and ever. So again, being in the now, although I've had some overarching life lessons.
Oh, sure.
And they kind of show up in just about everything I've done.
And everything you've done, no matter what you do tomorrow or next year, some things that you've done in the past are going to infiltrate in and elevate your experience.
Right, and it's like it's not even that you have to have a certain thing happen.
Truth.
Like a certain event, or it has to be in a certain form. That does stump people a lot. It used to stump me a lot too. I would sit and wait for things to happen. Mm-hmm. And that idea of waiting, there's being patient, but I wasn't really super patient. I was just thinking that's where my gifts were. It was like out there somewhere waiting for them to drop down.
And sometimes, with people like Renata, William, part of the activity is not planning, but saying, I don't know what to do with this idea. Go for a walk, go for a drive, go visit people. Mm-hmm. Go to areas of the town or city that you've never been in.
Yeah, and just like when you're rebooting your computer, I learned in the very beginning, and nothing works. The first lesson is turn it off, reset it. It'll probably do that. We are a divine human computer, right? So we've got so much information coming in at us. Sometimes you just got to turn it off and reboot. That's what sleep is for generally.
Recently, I was working on my computer, and there was no sound. The sound was totally gone. I called Renata and said, help! And she said, just turn it off and go back later. So I turned it off, went for a walk, my kind of walking, and riding in my Go-Mobile.
I can see it. Oh, Pioneer Park. I love it. Homestead Park.
And as soon as I turned the computer on, the sound was on.
Yeah, see, because know this, that the grid and the Internet of Things is not a perfected, we are perfected divine energy. Get this. We are the perfected divine energy. I'm going to say that one more time. You, me, all of you out there are the reflected, perfected divine energy. That's why this particular narrative is wanting to close our magnificence down. Do you get that?
Oh, yes.
Do you get
and
that?
like, this is what we're doing tomorrow night at a restaurant. We're talking to strangers and people about just enjoy this moment and all of us celebrate together. If you don't speak my language, it doesn't matter. You're feeling the energy. You're feeling it. And that's what we're doing as a group in
I
a
know.
wonderful restaurant here in town.
Should we do like a little commercial on that right now?
Go for it.
Okay. It's on our website, theuniversallifealliance.org. You'll see this flyer. And we're going to be at Cochina Mexicana Restaurant at 3802 South Cedar Street from 6 to 8 p.m.
I didn't understand that street.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. 3802 South Cedar Street.
Oh, yeah.
Cedar
Okay,
Street.
yeah.
And if any of you frequent Crystal Spirit, we're right next door to Crystal Spirit, so it's a great thing. 6 to 8. Suggested donation is $11, but don't let that stump you. There's great food there, and we have the whole half of the restaurant, and Max is going to be videoing our little event. So, and then we'll like stream it later. So it's going to be fun. So just show up.
And
Have
it's
some
fun.
fun.
That's the thing. Do something different.
That's what we're doing.
We're breaking the pattern of isolation because it's a world family. We have to stop saying, I'm going to the Japanese district. I'm going to the Asian district. We're the district. All of it. We have to start inviting each other. It's not about language. It's about taking your magic and feeling the energy. If I couldn't hear your words, I would feel what you're saying.
I know. A long time ago, things started to fall off the shelf, books or whatever.
Yes,
Or
yes.
someone would recommend a book, and I'd go get it, and I'd open a page, and it'd say blah, 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 blah. I couldn't hear, nothing. I wouldn't buy it. But, oftentimes a book or something would fall off, and I'd read, and like, oh, it's just talking to me. I could hear it. So that's what, that's the selection. That's that feeling thing you're saying about.
Well, when I go to the library to get a book, I don't go with a plan. I just roam up and down the different aisles. I don't look at alphabet. And I call it lighting up.
Lighting up, I like.
A book lights up. I just
Uh-huh.
reach up and grab it.
Uh-huh.
And it's something I needed to read and hear.
And it may not be the whole book, huh?
Exactly.
Yeah, there was a, my little acronym for God is Grand Organizing Design, and I got that out of a book. It fell off the shelf, literally, and that's all I read. I read a couple of pages, but the guy used that term because the God thing, that concept, messed with him. So he did Grand Organizing Design. I'm like, that's it. Thank you. I don't even know what the name of the book was, but
Because it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that was great.
IDM. It don't matter.
It don't matter to me what you're searching for. You were born to be free.
100 years ago, in this life, there was a singer, actor, and he wrote a song and sung a thing called It Don't Worry Me.
It don't worry me.
It don't worry me. Price of bread might go up. It don't worry me. Tax relief might someday come. It don't worry me. It's a great thing.
I wonder how many pieces like Peter, Paul, and Mary.
Oh, weren't they incredible?
Yeah, they were interesting because they were like protest singers, weren't they? Was that kind of the deal?
Yeah,
and they were a little bit before me. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Peter, Paul, and Mary, they went to demonstrations. They spoke for the common people. They did a song about, and it's called Deportee.
Deportee?
Deportee. And the big plane caught fire over Las Galas Canyon. And the newspaper just said they were just deportees.
Oh wow, like that didn't matter.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Yeah, like
See, we had to break down the barriers, gang.
you got to break down your own barriers first and,
Hey.
and your resistance.
Yes.
I mean, so all the magic is on the inside. All the magic is on the inside.
Yep.
You need to connect with on the outside.
Perfect statement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that physical dimension, it's like 99.9% empty space. So the creation matrix is really strong for us.
Oh, yes.
And this opportunity that we've been given to stop and just reassess and recreate is what that heart love connection is all
Recreate.
about. And the unity, the unifying inside and then the unified energy on the outside,
Because now we have to break the patterns that have been going on for thousands of years, class makes a difference. Money makes a difference. You can still be rich. You can still make a lot of money. Have a beautiful home, beautiful car, whatever. But then share some of that money with people in need. Did you know that in our very own country, there are people starving to death? In America.
I know. There's been several billboards out in the past saying that 1 out of 6 children goes to bed hungry.
Yes.
You know, and then we have some policies that need to be shifted in our healthcare system, or just Department of Health, like Kentucky Fried Chicken, for instance. When their chicken is all done, they throw it away in the dumpster. And I remember a young kid that worked for Kentucky Fried Chicken. I'm like, so blah, blah, blah. So what happens with that chicken? Do you guys like set that out for people or something? He goes, no. We kind of used to leave the dumpsters open and people would, dumpster dive and get the food because they were hungry. But now they made us lock the dumpster. I'm like, wow. In Europe, they actually are not allowed to throw away food. I mean, they don't throw away food, which is...
Well, I don't know if you realize it or not, but a country singer that I think is really potent is Dolly Parton.
Mm-hmm.
And she was brought up in the Appalachian Mountains. And she has a thing called Dollywood.
Never been, but heard about it.
All of the people that work there are from the Appalachians. She is taking care, sharing her wealth, and giving people the opportunity to have food, to have a place to sleep, have kids that can discover their talents. That's called spirituality.
That's called spirituality, but then you have to check that spirituality because on the other side, I heard she donated $1 million or more of her money to this vaccine research, and I don't agree with that. So
Hey, if you can find one person that you totally agree with, let me know.
I agree with Renata most of the time. I hear you.
I'm not going there.
I hear you.
Okay.
You're good.
The important thing is, all of you, you're born with magic.
Mm-hmm.
Use the magic.
Mm-hmm.
And it's different in Sweden than it is here. It's different in parts of Africa. And it's still magic. And if you look at the indigenous people of all of the continents, because they're magic, because they manifest it, we've repressed them, we've tried to destroy them, yet they survive. They do survive.
And so we want to look at the human race as a whole now with what's going on as well.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
There is just a small percentage of the financial elite, that are controlling this particular narrative.
Yes.
But there's enough wealth and power at the top where there just is a lack of integrity. And it's real interesting. I was sharing with you that I had read an article in my Alumni Viewpoint magazine.
Oh, yes.
And I was telling William that I was thinking about, I graduated many years ago from you. I was thinking about joining the Alumni Association. Like, it'd be a good upscale for you, Renata. Why not? And then I got this, I got the article, I got the magazine, and it says vaccine equity. Equity is one of those interesting words. It's not the same thing as equality.
Mm-hmm.
Equity is something totally different. And ever since this particular COVID narrative has happened, I haven't been on top of it necessarily, but I made a decision about what I was going to do a long time ago. Because, and so as I read the article, I'm like, and I read it twice. I didn't rip it up. I thought, what are you going to do about this disinformation in this particular article of your collegiate people and educated people? There's just an awful lot of misinformation in here that I'm like, did you not know? Or what's the deal with this? So, I'm going to take action. I'm going to take action.
Action. All of you. It's time to go beyond the idea of, I cannot make a difference.
Right, and that's some of that other entrainment that is just BS, rotten fish eye, I gotta say.
Mm-hmm.
It is us that makes the difference.
Andre Day does a song called Rise Up, and that's such a valuable piece for all of us.
Yeah, and it's just about making a choice.
Yep.
You make your choice, and that's how your universe will be. You have to trust yourself on that.
And rising up doesn't mean carrying a gun. Rising up means speak your truth, speak your power, and then it spreads, planting seeds of energy.
Everything is energy.
Everything.
You know, and including the conflict that you carry about certain things that you align yourself with. So align yourself with things that feel right for you. That's what we're saying.
Yes.
You cannot align with somebody else's truth because then you have conflict.
And it doesn't matter what other people think of you. I hear a lot of people, particularly in the Asian countries, and they say, but what is that person over there going to think of me? Well, first of all, it's none of their business. Second of all, when's the last time they bought your clothes? When's the last time they did your laundry or paid your mortgage?
I mean, that's always a really good baseline. Do you know what I'm
Yes.
saying? And it's like you don't have to be smart ass about it either. It's just an internal acknowledgement that you have the right to have value. You have the right
Yes.
to anticipate, you know, vitality and health of your health in your life, especially when you do your due diligence and, you know, get your rest and, you know, grow your own vegetables and, you know, you pay attention to what feels good, right? And you have the right to anticipate that that'll continue for you.
I often think of the hanging gardens in the Mediterranean Sea. Not in the sea, but you know, in the cities. Years and years ago, they weren't dependent on supermarkets,
Yeah.
and they were healthy and they were firm, and they had long, productive lives. You know, there's so many things that we could do, but we become lazy.
Yeah, I like the word slazy.
Sleazy, sleazy.
Slazy. Sleazy. But we have, it's like there's so much ease and grace with attaining things now. They're shopping 24/7 online now.
Yes, yes.
And going in the store. People will deliver stuff to you, bring it out to your curb, you know? I mean, it's amazing. And so, you know, I'm really far removed from how food is grown. And so it was great to go visit my sister-in-law who has a little farm. And I got to see chickens and hold some of them.
You know, there was a study done, and they were questioning college graduates in Florida. And one of the questions they asked was, where do you get your beef? And they all said, supermarket.
Safeway.
And then they said, well, no, but where does your beef come from? From the supermarket. They didn't know that it's a cow. We have to re-educate our people, get your kids in touch with the real reality that no matter what happens in tomorrow, we can take care of ourselves.
I mean, and we do notice a resurgence of that grassroots movement that's been
Oh,
going
yes,
on
yes,
for a
yes.
while. The community gardens.
Oh, yes.
All that kind of stuff. I mean, my sister-in-law Sandy sent us home with some farm fresh eggs, and I had 2 eggs and sausage this morning for breakfast. You didn't know that, but oh my gosh, I cracked that yolk. Like, oh.
Huge difference.
And the taste. I may never go back. But I can't go to Tri-Cities to get farm fresh eggs all the time, so I have to find a place around here. But the point being is that once you make the connection with something that's really good, you can kind of keep that going.
Well, in the place that I'm looking at across the street from where I'm living, there's a young family. It's an apartment complex. And on their deck, they're growing vegetables, and they've got chicken coops. Chicken coops, they get their own eggs.
And little goats too. Sandy had some goats, and across the farm they had goats. They were kind of cute.
Yeah.
They definitely keep that lawn all good and all that extra stuff away, you know? I mean, we've just gotten away from a lot of things, and we're not saying all of a sudden you have to become Farmer Jane. I'm not implying that. But I'm just saying that, though, when you go to the open markets and all that, you can support it that way. That's what George and I do. We just go to the, community
absolutely.
markets.
Get involved with life. So many people are saying, we've got to get back to what we had. Impossible.
Yeah.
The gods are telling us, move forward and create a new reality. Our show. Create a new reality. And your reality and my reality can be compatible. Doesn't mean they're the same.
Create a new reality with every breath. Our liver regenerates every 30 to 35 days.
Isn't that amazing?
So which means all of our cells, atoms, nucleotides,
Yep.
all down the line shifts.
Yes.
So we're never the same as we were last month or even yesterday, technically. Like we may physically kind of materialize the same body day after day. A lot of us ladies know that things do start to sag and shift a little bit.
And it's not about just women knowing that it sags.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, so what? That is what that is.
And instead of saying, oh, I wish I had what I had 40 years ago, say, I'm glad to have what I have today. And make the most of it.
And see, there's something about that internal dialogue because you're with yourself 100% of the time. Well, generally, you're with yourself 100% of the time. And so I developed that practice a while ago of really paying attention to those thoughts that move through when you're by yourself, when you're driving, when you're just sitting, when you're on the toilet, whatever that is, to like really monitor those thoughts. And when things come across that feel contradictory or conflict producing, stop for a moment, check it out, see where that's coming from for yourself, and then realign that.
Good statement.
Realign that. And mostly it comes out, yeah, sagging, but you know what? I'm good. Look at that. You can just put this together and it's a pretty good day and I'm on to something else. Do you know what I'm saying?
Some of you remember almost 3-4 months ago, I had a serious injury.
Mm-hmm.
And the medical profession said, because of the injury, you'll never be able to lift your arm at a certain point.
Yeah.
Above your head. It just won't happen.
Yeah.
You'll get better, but. So I was showing George and Renata.
So like blah, blah, blah on you, blah.
Hey, you can
yeah.
do your own thing.
And part of the challenge with not being aware that you can do your own thing is that a lot of us, maybe listen to outside preferences and opinions a little too much.
But also remember, I didn't do this alone. Renata does a thing with water.
Yeah, I'm into special structured water and some tinctures and
all of those things, they help.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have people like Renata by chance.
Sweet.
She's a valuable resource.
And just like you are too, I was going to say, because you really are open to just about everything. Because your life experiences have included a lot of things that you're open to, but you're not rigid about.
A lot that I've never told you about.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it may stay secret, right? But it's all good. But that energy that you share when you say things to me, I can feel that that's truth when it comes from you to me. So I don't question you when you say things. We don't always have to agree, but it's not about that. It's not about agreement. It's not about fair.
True.
I mean, I don't know who said, and we should demote them, that this planet is about fair. And what's that word? Equity. Like whatever. Who made that word up?
Yes.
By design, we are equal. We don't need to have things distributed out to us. Everything is there for us to utilize.
Back to the show that we're doing tomorrow night at the Kachina, is we're inviting people from all races, all districts, because we have to break down the barrier and say just because you're Chinese doesn't mean you have to live in Chinatown.
Exactly, and we're calling it World Family Open Mic Night.
Yep.
When we came up with that idea, so you want everybody to come up and speak? If they want to, that's the
Of
idea.
course.
That's the whole purpose. Open forum. And you could talk like that too if you want to.
And if they don't speak English, so what?
It doesn't matter.
If they speak Chinese or if they speak French, but they speak from the heart. They speak what they're feeling. You don't have to know the words. You'll get the feeling.
I mean, a smile is like the international interpretation of how you doing. Good.
Smile.
Smile. You know? Yeah. It's an exciting time. Learn to bend as the bamboo. And watch that willow
Is this hot
float.
water?
That's really the idea for us. On that magic thing. You got the magic, and you got the idea of letting all the elements come to you and feel.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And that's what I live next door to a park
Yeah.
in University Place.
Yes.
And dogs come to me. Trees, when there's no wind, they have their own wind come. And it's like they're waving at me.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as I walk away from that particular tree, their wind stops because that tree didn't grow legs and follow me.
So don't ignore when you're someplace and all of a sudden a gust of wind,
Exactly.
it's talking to you. And those great cloud dancing and cloud watching that you and I like to do. Have you
Oh,
noticed all the cloud
yes.
formations? I mean, going to Eastern Washington, Tri-Cities, it was like amazing, all the different cloud formations I was seeing. And you shared with me that it was like, there's always a little bit of extra UFO energy in those clouds. You're not to check it out.
Yeah, and on
Totally.
YouTube this morning, the U.S. government shows a tape by a pilot, and they said it was really a UFO.
Okay, so
And
they
that's
are.
on YouTube.
So they are going to attempt to do this. Part of that narrative story is we're going to be attacked from aliens. They did play that story, huh? Okay. Newsflash.
But-
You know.
If they were going to attack us, they would have done that thousands of years ago.
Absolutely.
They want to help us. But they're also a little apprehensive because if they get too close, we're going to blow them out of the sky.
We have had affiliations and associations with off-planet energies since Earth has been around.
Oh, of course.
And just there's more openness now to contact, and that's part of the premise with being involved with Tula is just all life is important, and the willingness to communicate with all life forms on planet, off planet as well.
The whales, the mer people, they're originally from other planets.
I know, and in honor of today, I love the mer people.
Oh, yes.
I have my little mermaid on, my little mermaid earrings, and the mer people come in all colors too. They're not just
Oh,
clear.
yes.
They're not just clear.
I've seen them off Orcas Island, Washington.
Yeah, I heard that. You said there was a pod.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be a cool event to go.
Oh,
Without
yes.
the expectation of actually seeing a mer
No
person.
expectations. Because you can feel them even if you don't see them.
And we can feel a lot of things even if you don't see them, and trust that. When
Truth.
something, when you ask about something and da-da-da walks across your head, embrace that as your answer.
Thank you.
And don't doubt it. Like, where'd that come from? What was that about? Well, like, don't do that any longer. I'm only saying that from personal experience because I'd be like, well, really? Well, now I asked for an answer. Oh, okay. Let me check that out. See how.
Oh, and
okay.
by the way, may I do a quick commercial? for
Please.
William?
Oh, for William.
If you all know a retired person or a person, I don't care, who drives an automobile near the U District, University Place, I need people that I can call if I need to go shopping, if I need things. If you know anybody like that, have them get in touch to my webpage, our webpage.
And we actually have that on as volunteer opportunities.
Oh, good.
Driving for, we just put that on. Kai just did that last week.
Oh.
At your request, actually. So, lots of benefits from just kind of doing a little good thing and hanging out and talking to someone like
Yes.
William.
The more you get to know each other, the more you're going to counteract the need for war, anger, starvation, and fear.
And again, the more you're present with yourself, you can catch all the minute opportunities that come to you each day to connect, like with your neighbors. Our neighbors next door, they were pushing a car, something happened with it. I'm like, getting my mail, and they were pushing. I'm like, you need some help? So I got behind the car and helped pushing it. It just needed to make a hump over the driveway. It wasn't a big deal. But we did that, and it was a unified effort, all three of us. They're like, thanks, Renata. I'm like, you're welcome. I'm your neighbor. Of course I'd help. So there you go. So many opportunities come.
Absolutely.
Just talking to people in the elevator.
Oh, yes.
It doesn't have to be a long, long discussion, but make a connection.
And you said something important. Talking with.
Yeah.
Many people nowadays talk at.
Yeah.
And what we're talking about is not imposing our statements or beliefs on anyone or anything. It's talking with.
Talking with, and then we don't mean that you have to just stay there in a conversation that feels like
True.
it's just done and attempt to find things to talk about. But, initiate the conversation. You can talk about the nice weather or make a little laugh or, whatever. Just a little small connection. You could be done.
One of my favorite questions when I'm meeting strangers, what's your favorite thing to do for pure pleasure? And the answers can be amazing.
I bet.
And it opens a door that can go on for hours.
Yes.
What
It
do you
could open
do just for fun?
What do you do just for fun?
I had a woman in LA say, I read books. I said, but that's not fun. That's interesting. You're gathering ideas and insights. But what do you do just for fun that makes you smile inside, that makes you happy inside?
Well, George and I laughed. This morning he left and he's like, interesting. We've been around each other 24/7 for about 4 or 5 days straight, He's like, I'm going to miss you. I'm like, I'm going to miss you too. Will you write me? And then we just start cracking up, So it's like, laughter is fun. Anytime you can laugh, I say, and then pee your pants, it's a good thing. And Max, will you hold the cards? We have to do our magic draw here. I pulled, William, I pulled 3 cards without looking at them this morning for all of us, and then I gave Max one more, so he'll pull. Mm-hmm. So we'll get to see what it is, what the energy is that the universe wants us to. Oh, thanks, Max. That was Max's. So. Okay. So whenever I get something that says 2 9s, I'm always interested in that humanitarian energy of moving forward, wrapping things up, finishing, and moving ahead. So that's really an idea for all of us now, is to be a little more humanitarian, and what we mean by that is create more win-win scenarios. Ask somebody if they need a little trip to the grocery store, or if they could use a little something. So that's that 9 energy that I'm seeing there in that 2, 5, 7. 7, so spades. What does spades represent to you? Do you have an indication of spades at all in your life?
It means different things at different times.
Things fall in spades. I've heard that little saying before. So spades to me is work and health. So, there's that idea of us working for community, and then paying attention to our health and making sure that's really grounded.
Okay, now that I go along with.
Okay.
I have the reaction of spades means taken care of.
See, and then in terms of using cards as a tool, that's kind of the stimulation, and then what you get from it is the message. It's not a static sort of message, never is.
Never.
And, the Jack is all about that ability to be playful and to sell people a new idea. You'd be really good at, selling people a new way of doing things and living their life. 7, you got a lot of that 7 energy, so do I. That idea of reflecting inward. And then we got our love, living only valuable experiences. So there you go.
Yes.
Love yourself. And if you think you haven't loved yourself enough, love yourself a little bit more.
And the more you love yourself, the more you're going to attract love.
And life is a reflection. So this is a delicate subject for a lot of people.
Yes.
Life is a reflection. And if you're one that tends to be a little overly critical of yourself, start to notice when that begins to lighten up for you, even just for a second. Because know that part of you is also sifting the collective unconscious. All of us are, okay? So, own your stuff work with the things that are important for your soul intent, and then drop the rest as best you can and be in the present moment, so you can catch all those things and float them in a different direction. I'm getting close to William because I know it's almost time for us to go.
Yes, yeah.
And it's amazing
2 minutes.
how that hour goes.
Yes.
And it's like, give yourself a hug at night, I'm hoping everybody else out there has somebody to hug. A teddy bear.
Oh yeah, I have my teddy, but I also have my friends, and I have myself.
And you have yourself, it's like, wow, that's a deep one, isn't it? Like, you're your best friend.
Yep.
I mean,
That's
you're your
why
best friend.
Love yourself if you want love.
Really? 'Cause otherwise, it's just not going to happen.
Truth.
This one you can't pretend. You can't pretend the self-love thing.
No.
You just can't pretend the self-love thing. You got to be real with that one. And part of that being real with the self-love is a lot of us don't love ourselves because our entrainment. So start there. You're good. It'll fall away.
And live in the moment.
That's it, isn't it?
Yep.
We'll have to do part 2 of your sharing because you've got so many wonderful things to share. And, we get a little basic outline and that doesn't even touch on the tip program. Do you have another workshop coming up soon in Japan that you're
Tonight.
doing? Oh, it's tonight? Okay. I was thinking of your next week agenda. And are you doing that on, are we taping that?
It's on YouTube.
Okay.
I don't know exactly how many people, but Yoshi Ito, he said there's just over 100 signed up.
So cool. And you had mentioned, and this is kind of interesting, for those of you that actually would like to be present or watch some of the workshops and seminars that William does in Japan, you're doing it Zoom, not live, obviously. We may be able to have an access pass to viewing that on our website. I think you and Yoshi were starting to talk about that.
Yep.
So we'll see how that plays out. You can go and watch a couple of little snippets of you doing a little presentation, but we don't actually hear the whole dialogue going on. So, it's kind of nice.
What she's saying is, on your YouTube, just type in William Rainin, and there's a whole bunch comes up.
Yeah, and is that the Japan YouTube?
I have no idea what you're saying.
Okay, you're good. It's fine.
All I know is YouTube is there. You type in William Rainin, and things come up.
Okay. I guess that's kind of it.
Yeah. So have a wonderful tomorrow, unless you don't. And that's reminding you to just live in the moment.
Live in the moment. And come check us out, though.
Yes.
I'll give you the address again, 3802 South Cedar Street, and that's in Tacoma. The zip is 98409 if you're doing your, little Google finding it. And it is Cochina Mexicana. And it's a restaurant right next to Crystal Spirit.
So.
Yeah, 6 to 8 p.m. We'd love to see you there, okay?
And remember, it's not about color. It's not about who has money. It's about people being people together.
It's called Unity.
Please.
Unity.
Yes.
All right, auf Wiedersehen.
Thank you.